Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. This is what this presentation would look like if I lacked software literacy. That was kind of a corny example, but now imagine how your career would go if you suddenly lost the ability to understand computers. It's hard to imagine them being separate, isn't it? Learning how to use tech is vital for situations throughout the business world. Getting a job and keeping one as a process is more competitive than ever. Knowledge of the specific software you're using is important, but to succeed in business, it is even more important to be computer literate. Now, before I dive too deep, I think it's important to make a quick distinction between these two terms. First off, what is software knowledge? I'll be using this term interchangeably with knowledge and computer knowledge throughout the presentation. For the purposes of this presentation, software knowledge is defined as memorizing and repeating computer processes. Now, what does this mean? It's quite similar to taking a test. If you're taking a test and you memorize the study guide word for word, then questions come up that are related to the study guide, and you'll know exactly what to answer. Now imagine that instead of a test, you're dealing with Microsoft Excel, and your boss has you perform the same type of tasks on a regular basis, such as making a chart. In this case, knowledge is memorizing and being able to repeat the process of making a chart in Excel. No more, no less. Computer literacy or software literacy is different. For this presentation, computer literacy is defined as the understanding and application of basic software principles. At first glance, this seems pretty similar to computer knowledge. However, there are key differences. Literacy can be understood better if you think about it like learning a new language. Imagine that you're learning Spanish and you're watching a YouTube tutorial to learn a new grammar rule. They teach you how to say, "I'm hungry, but I still don't want leftovers." Now, you know that exact sentence, but you also know how to use "but" to connect two ideas together. So in the future, when you want to say something like, "Cows are cool, but they fart a lot," you already know how to structure that sentence as long as you can figure out the words. In the same way, literacy isn't about exact knowledge of every step, it's about understanding the how and the why. There are plenty of reasons you should care about literacy when it comes to your resume and entering the job market. Studies show that software skills make you more competitive. One study by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics suggested that about 77% of all jobs in any market require some sort of baseline proficiency in software skills. What qualifies as a good bullet point on a resume is drastically different depending on the career field. However, here are some good examples of bullet points that could make your resume more competitive. Proficient in web design, experience with computer programming, excel at data analysis. Sorry about the pun. If you have room, briefly expound on your resume about the specific programs that back up this skill, but framing your software experience in terms of the skill you can provide, such as web design, is much more meaningful than simply saying the program you know, but not why it's important. Computer literacy is just as important in the process of keeping a job as it is in getting one. Literacy increases uptake and adaptability in the workplace. Companies change software all the time, and understanding how to use a new one is much more important than memorizing a specific set of instructions. There is a growing sentiment in the workplace that a basic foundation in how understanding computers works is necessary for efficient communication and improving work quality. Let me share an example to illustrate this. I spent a summer working for an agency that used an outdated data entry software titled Beyond. Beyond was built from the late 90s, and its age was definitely showing. While I was there, computers were very important, and the company changed to a new in-house software named ARTrail. ARTrail was sleeker, it had faster load times, and had the potential to drastically improve work output. However, many of the employees that worked there had little understanding of how the Beyond software actually worked. They had just memorized which buttons to push to make their job happen. Even though ARTrail had the same capabilities as Beyond, work at the company halted, and use of the software was delayed while employees were retrained. Those that were able to learn the new software quicker had a leg up, and they gained better positions as a result. It's important to note that many would say that knowledge of specific programs is more important than literacy. Learning specific processes for a specific program is more focused on one field of work. It's easier to learn and execute because it's all memorization. Learning a program that is currently in wide use is also something that is specific to your resume and will boost it. These points are all valid, and knowledge of specifics is absolutely important. Or all programs, but you can't possibly memorize in your program all of the things that you will encounter. This is a changing landscape. 10 years from now, your program may be irrelevant. You need to be able to understand the jargon and instructions in the YouTube tutorial you look up later. Literacy is key. Knowledge is important, but even more important is the foundational understanding of how computers work. Begin by taking concrete steps to learn the basics of one software program, and then ponder how these steps are similar or relate to programs you used in the past. You'll begin to see the patterns, and software use will become more than just a checklist. If you have a sure foundation, you can learn and adapt to any situation more quickly. This is what employers are looking for, and improving these skills will increase your success in the workplace for years to come.